Welcome to Hoopfest. Spokane's Hoopfest is the world's largest 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Over 24,000 basketball players will participate in this year's event, supported by over 500 court monitors like you and over 2,000 other volunteers. The emphasis is on teamwork, good sportsmanship, and good family fun. Whether or not we achieve these goals depends on you. You can help us meet these goals with a positive attitude, a smile, and by maintaining control of the games in which you serve as a court monitor. This video is intended to give you the basics. You should supplement this video with a close reading of the rules. You'll have to enforce and interpret the rules. And as such, you should read and understand the rules before the teams take the court. There are 10 steps to a monitor's success. These steps will make your Hoopfest experience a very positive one. Sign up, study and know the rules. Attend a training session. Go to monitor registration on the Thursday of Hoopfest. Show up on time and be present for the time you committed. Know and enforce the rules. Care for the court equipment and court area. Regulate play as assigned. Return the equipment at the end of the tournament. Take pride and have fun. Court monitoring requires a significant amount of time during the weekend. Typically, you can plan on volunteering 11 to 12 hours on Saturday and 6 to 7 hours on Sunday. Be sure to plan ahead for the best possible experience. Each court at Hoopfest will have at least one monitor assigned to it at all times. In some instances, as many as 2 monitors may be assigned to the same court. Hoopfest officials will attempt to place you on a court where you'll have the most success. Monitors for youth courts, courts consisting of players entering grades 3 through 9, will call all fouls. On all other courts, players will be responsible for calling their own fouls. The exceptions are technical, flagrant, and intentional fouls. Monitors are the only ones who can call these fouls, and they will be explained later in the video. This is an official Hoopfest court. Each court has a basket, key, free throw line, 2-point arc, take-back line, and out-of-bounds line surrounding the court. The basket height for each court is 10 feet, with the exception of 3rd and 4th grade courts, where the basket height is 8 feet. The free throw line is located here. All fouls, including player control fouls, result in 1 free throw, unless a basket was made when the foul occurred. In that situation, no additional foul shot will be awarded. All other players must be behind the shooter while attempting the shot. All fouls must be shot regardless of whether or not the player is in the act of shooting. Do not let players take the ball out of bounds or make up their own rules. The 2-point arc is the dotted line that surrounds the key. Any player who releases the ball behind this arc will be awarded 2 points for a successful try. If the player's momentum carries over the line after the shot has left their hand, the shot will still count for 2 points. A basket where the player's foot was on the line will count as only 1 point. The take-back line is the dashed line between the 2-point line and the out-of-bounds line in back. The ball will be taken back on each change of possession, regardless of whether or not a shot was attempted. Failure to take the ball back results in loss of possession and any points just scored. Taking it back means bringing your whole body and the ball behind the dashed take-back line, not the sidelines or 2-point arc. After each stoppage, the next play is started when the team takes the ball behind the take-back line. The offensive player will get behind this line and check the ball to the defending player, who will then bounce past the ball back. This will signify that the defending team is ready for play. The offensive team cannot dribble or shoot the ball and must pass it in. An unacceptable maneuver would be for the defensive player to cross the take-back line. The defensive player must remain behind the take-back line until the ball is passed into play. Possession will alternate after each made basket. There's no make-it-take-it rule in Hoopfest. The out-of-bounds lines are the solid lines running around the perimeter of the court. A ball out of bounds must be put back into play behind the back out-of-bounds line. The basket structure, padding, and structural supports are considered out of bounds. The actual backboard, including its face, top, bottom, and sides, are considered inbounds. On the Thursday before the games begin, you will pick up your court monitor bag and be ready to be a monitor. The bag you pick up at the designated location will contain 3 items. The first is a 3-ring binder. The second is the scoring rack for the scorekeeper. And the third is the basketball. Keep an eye on the basketball in between games. Players will have a tendency to run off with the ball after their game. Before each game, you'll meet with each team to discuss the Hoopfest rules and policies and to stress the importance of good sportsmanship.
Welcome to Hoopfest. My name's Kevin. I'm going to be your court monitor for this weekend. A couple things I'd like to go over before we get started. First, I'd like to welcome you to Hoopfest. I remember most of us have to go to work on Monday, so keep that in mind throughout the weekend. You're going to see me. I'll be involved in the game.
The following points should be addressed during your pregame conference. Introduce yourself to the players and the designated parent coach for youth courts. Confirm the teams have read and understand the rules. Confirm that the teams have read and signed the sign-in sheet and sportsmanship pledge. This form must be legibly signed prior to each game. Adult and high school court monitors need to explain that players will call their own fouls. You'll be there to resolve conflicts and to call any technical, intentional, or flagrant fouls. Encourage players to call fouls immediately after they occur, rather than waiting to see if the ball goes in the basket. Ticky-tack fouls are not part of Hoopfest and will not be tolerated. Warn teams that you'll step in and overrule teams who constantly call these types of fouls. Youth court monitors need to explain to the players and the parent coach that you'll be calling all fouls and infractions. Encourage great sportsmanship and inform them that rough play is not a part of Hoopfest. Explain the penalties resulting from technical, intentional, and flagrant fouls. Identify the team captain for the adult and high school courts and inform them that they'll be called upon to assist with control of their teammates and fans. Youth court monitors need to address the designated parent coach for assistance with players and parents. Remind teams that poor sportsmanship towards opposing players, Hoopfest officials, or fans can result in the forfeiture of games and the possible removal from the tournament. It's in your best interest to lay down the law early and set a zero-tolerance policy for the entire weekend. The winning team will be responsible for taking the score sheet to the master scoreboard tent in the park immediately following the game. And encourage everyone to have fun and flip the coin to determine possession. The Hoopfest bracket sheet is located in the back pocket of your binder. It's extremely important that the sheet is filled out completely following each game. Each game is numbered and has the start time and day listed next to it. Follow the bracket sheet numerically as it will guide you to the correct game. Winning teams will always move to the right on your bracket sheet, and the losing team will always move down into the loser's bracket. Use the information on your bracket sheet to determine where to move teams. For example, the winner of game number 1 will move to the right on the space that reads winner 1. Subsequently, move the loser of game 1 to the space below that reads loser 1. Follow the information on the bracket sheet and you will not get lost. Hoopfest is a double elimination tournament, meaning teams must lose twice before being eliminated from the tournament. However, teams that lose their first 2 games will be moved into our consolation bracket located down here. Only teams that lose their first 2 games will qualify for the consolation bracket. The winner of the consolation bracket will receive a t-shirt as well as the first and second place finishers. If a player is injured and in need of assistance, see if the player can make it to one of the medical tents on their own. If they cannot, contact your court marshal. Do not force a player off the court if he or she says they cannot move or if they are unresponsive. Do not administer first aid, but call for help. Hoopfest has always placed an emphasis on good sportsmanship. As a monitor, your most important task is to ensure that games are being played within the spirit of Hoopfest. The spirit of Hoopfest is defined as competitive basketball played in an atmosphere in which all players, spectators, and volunteers treat each other with mutual respect, dignity, and sportsmanship. Hoopfest is concerned about the growing trend of unsportsmanlike acts such as profanity, taunting, baiting, and trash talking. More than ever, Hoopfest will be seeking the cooperation of all players and spectators to eliminate these disturbances from the tournament. As a monitor, you'll be asked to fully enforce the following calls. Regardless of age bracket, it's your responsibility to enforce the spirit of Hoopfest, fair play, and safe basketball. Many players have jobs and other important commitments to fulfill following the Hoopfest weekend. By eliminating rough play, you minimize the chances for injury. If play starts getting too rough, the court monitor must stop the game and require players to tone it down. Unnecessarily rough play or failure to obey your instructions will result in stiffer penalties. Technical fouls are fouls for unsportsmanlike acts such as taunting, baiting, or trash talking.
Dude, you have no skills.
Taunting and baiting involve derogatory remarks and/or gestures that incite or insult a player. Trash talk involves a deeply personal, verbal, or nonverbal attack directed toward any person involved in the event. In extreme cases, the player may also be suspended from play, and the coach or fan may be removed from the court for the remainder of that game and possibly the rest of the tournament. An intentional foul is a foul when a player makes no intention to play the ball to prevent a player from scoring, dribbling, or passing. Intentional fouls can sometimes occur away from the ball by players who are cutting, screening, or rebounding.